So check it out, guys. Just wanted to show you this really cool. It's basically just a spiral of the double Mai Tai that I've been playing with recently. And it came out like a really nice spiral, almost like those galaxy beads, the galaxy marbles, the galaxy vortexes. So I started to mess around with that. You know, we were making a few mushrooms with little spirals in the back, and then decided to make another spiral. And so then I made a few more yesterday, and we're gonna do a reveal right now and just show you guys what I came up with. I was trying to play with a few different ways and techniques, trying to add some little dots of color in there to make it look like little planets or little things floating in there. So we'll see how those look. Okay, and also might have you guys a little too close here. Let's bring you guys in a better angle. I guess that'll work. Something like that. Alright. Okay. That's probably a cool angle right there. Alright, so these ones came out really cool. So this one, here, let's go with the worst one. I don't really like this one, but it came out nice. It's pretty cool. That's the least best out of these. The next least best would be, I guess, this one. This one's kind of like a blob of colors and not, I mean, this one might have been the worst one, actually, maybe. Wish we had better lighting on this side. Can I set up that light? I might be able to. We do need better lighting for these. All right, let me see if I can plug this in real quick. And that should give us some better lighting here. All right. That should give us a lot better lighting now. Okay, so let me show you that first one again. This is the one that I was showing you on the, there, that's a lot better. Okay. So that's the one that we saw in the screenshot there. This is the first one that came out of the kiln that I was like, not that great. Okay, now this is the next one, which I was thinking, well, maybe this is the first not so great, but I mean, it's cool because I added the color into it. It's almost like a black hole or something. That's kind of cool. And then the next one that I don't like would be this one here. Well, not don't like, but least favorite But that one comes out really cool with the spiral in there. And then, I don't know which one do I like the best out of these. Okay. And then this one. That one came out really cool. Really like that one. I like how these colors are coming in still from the outside and then pulling in. So I'm going to work on making sure I get that kind of style going. And then this one here, I really love how that one works, where it's got all those colors just coming in from everywhere. And then that one goes up into the loop right there. That one's really, really awesome. So yeah, we got a lot of these cool spirals here, and then there's a couple more. And I just found this in the kiln. One of the world's tiniest candy canes. That one got lost in the kiln, and then I just found it. That's crazy. Okay, then these ones here. I was trying to get a little planet to float in there, and actually, look at that. Look at that. It's like a little planet in there. That came out pretty cool. I could do that again. So what I did was I sunk in a piece of color, like a round little tiny marble, into a tube the way you would do an opal. But I'm thinking I might be able to just like push that in from the backside. So we're gonna play around here, and we're gonna do a few other different techniques and little tricks here, and play around with these little things. But yeah, those came out really cool. All right. Let me get some water real quick here. Alright, so let's get started here. We'll get our glasses on. Always got to wear the didymiums. Always make sure you put these lenses on here. So, and we're going to just attempt to make a few more of these really awesome spirals and these cool planet. Man, these ones came out really cool. And I'm glad I got that lighting in on this side now, because that's going to make a huge difference. These planets came out pretty cool. Little planet beads. I wish there was more of a vortex on the back side of them. That one has like a little bit of like color going around. I don't know if you can see that. Just a little bit. I want to make a lot more of that. So I got a few ideas on how we can make that happen. And I'm just going to start with the first idea that I have. Oh, and then there's that too. Okay, I can just start with this. This is a spiral that's still on that colored or the clear glass there. So I can just start with that. Or we'll figure it out. I don't think I can start with that, but. So good morning. Oh, what's up, Pro Cannabis Warrior? I see you're here. So hey, before we get started here, I'll go through these real quick again. So the other day, remember, we worked on that mushroom, and then you told me to spiral all the things on the back side of it and stuff. So that's how that one came out. It came out pretty cool. The color is a little bit washed out because the light's really bright, but that's a little bit of it's a violet kind of purple. So then, um, was it that one? So then this was the next one that I made, and that's the one that was on the screenshot for this video here. And that's the one that I made yesterday. And then I started working on a whole bunch more. So I came out with these other ones here. Or maybe this was the one that was for the screenshot. I'm confused. Maybe it was this one actually. But this one came out really, really nice. Really like that one. That's probably the best one. A few others. So we're gonna work on making these, and then I try to put some planets inside of there, but I didn't get that spiral on behind it, so I got to work on that. But these came out pretty cool, but like little planets all floating in there. So we'll work on some stuff like that. Those came out nice, huh? That one that you helped design, that one came out sick. All right, let's get the kiln on. And then I also got a bunch of jellyfish that I made yesterday too. So I got some cool jellies here. That one came out really nice. This one I lost the tentacles underneath. Pushed it up too deep, but it still looks cool. The jellyfish, or someone could just call it a spiral mushroom. So yeah, my jellies, they came out pretty nice. All right, I got a couple ideas on how we can make this happen. So I'm thinking just sink in some color to make the patterns or make the planets. So just round this out. And probably flat back it some. Oh wait. Before we do that, I'm going to make the background. So we're going to get some of this ghost white here. The ghost white, I really like it. It becomes like a pearlescent, becomes almost like see-through. So we're going to use this as the background. So I just put 4 lines on the outside like that. And we kind of want to have those dots on the end, a little bit big. That way it's like kind of like comet tails or something. It just looks cool when it's like that. And then I'm just going to add a few dots. In between those lines, but just like kind of random too, like here and there. And hopefully those get like pulled in. And then we're going to turn this into a vortex. I'm going to get this area up here a lot hotter than the tip, so that spins more, and we don't want to spin the tip too much. I just bring that in, a little gradual kind of a twist. And then I'm going to get to the very end up here, and we're going to like really twist those dots and everything. Get those to pull. Alright, and then they're going to be all like see-through, basically ghosts, you know, like you can't really even see it. It becomes like it's not even there anymore. I'm going to move my jellyfish over here so they're not in the way. And you know, I might have a little too much glass on here. Oh, that's alright. We just have to do the design smaller next time. I'm going to try to get that center point back in the middle. Round it out some. Yeah, that's going to look cool. Alright, so that's going to be the background. I guess I can flatten that. And that'll be ready to go. Oh yeah, that looks cool. I don't know if you can see that pattern or not in there. But it's gonna look cool. I think. I hope. Alright, now I have to get another rod here. I'm already out of my clear glass. So I'm going to remove this. We're going to melt this down. We're going to add a little bit of color into it to kind of create that planet in there. And then we're going to mash that onto here. And then the planets will be kind of pushed in the back side of it. Actually, I should put a layer of clear glass right here first. Then I can just bury the planets right onto there. Maybe. I don't know, but that'll give it some depth. So now the planets will float off of those spirals there, so they won't be touching. There'll be a little bit of depth. And these are short. I don't know if you noticed that, but they're super short. I'm gonna definitely get some more rod here in a second. Okay, that's cool. I'm gonna set that down for a sec. Now what I'm gonna do is just add a little bit of color into here. Kind of like the way I push a mushroom, except I'm not gonna push a mushroom. We're just gonna push a little dot of color in there. And hopefully that'll like kind of turn into a little round ball. That's what I'm hoping for. And then that'll be like a little planet just kind of floating in there. Oh, that one didn't go in like I was hoping. I'm gonna try to keep that rounded. That one's gonna look interesting. Okay, well, we'll see what that one looks like. I wanted to add another color. This is like how different colors here here what I'll do is I'll pull this one off of that one. Alright, that's what I meant to do. Push it in and then give it a nice little cut like that. And let's do, here we'll do one more. Boom, okay. I don't know if that's too big. I don't know if I did too many there. Here, we'll try to bring it down to minimize it. Sink them all into the center there. And then we'll attach these two together. So usually what they do is they put the opals into the clear tube and then they sink the opals in. And the opals are the planets. I do have opal, but I kind of want to play around with some color and just see if I can do something else. But getting some nice perfectly round opals and having those always on hand to make some planets, I think I'm definitely going to get into doing that. Alright, we get this side molten, we get this molten again here, and we're going to sink these together here. Alright, so then I'm just going to take off some of this clear glass in the front, but we're going to leave it to make a lens, and then we'll just sink that back down, and hopefully this works. We'll be able to see those planets magnified with that spiral behind them. We're just going to melt this down and allow that to kind of widen out, get that clear glass to just fall down onto itself. Got a few planets just kind of floating in there. So those planets kind of flattened out like pancakes, which is interesting for the flat earthers. Oh, looks like a comet on one of them. It's got that little tail coming off of it. I do like that. And I do see that spiral behind it. That looks nice. Okay, so I'm just going to round this up. I don't know, can you see that? That looks pretty cool. That one looks like a little comet on the side with a little tail coming off of it. And there should be that spiral. Yeah, you can see that spiral in the background. Like a vortex. That's cool. So now we'll take this off. We'll use a punchy. We'll cut it off of here, and then we'll add some blue, some cobalt to the back of it. We'll clean up the punchy, make sure it's all nice and clean, so we can put it directly to this clear glass here since this is all clean. And I'm going to fuse these so it doesn't accidentally snap off. And then I'll just melt it off later and we'll just round it. Alright, now I'll cut it off. And this rod's so short, I'm feeling that flame trying to shoot up. It's like blasting off the round part and then trying to shoot up the rod to my fingers here. So I got to be real careful. Alright, now I'm just going to try to follow that same spiral that the pattern's in and how it's naturally landed. Oh my gosh, that spiral looks awesome. And I'm going to pull some of this off. And then I'm going to mount the back of it here, and then I'm going to flatten it, and I'll add some cobalt to it. And it should, like, I believe it's going to have that spiral coming through from the back side of it as well. So it might actually look like a double helix kind of pattern. That looks really cool. I love how I got that spiral nice and flat. Like the universe, like the Milky Way or the galaxy or whatever. It's amazing. Alright, then we'll flatten that. And then we'll get our cobalt and we'll attach it to the back, and that'll finish it off. So these take a little bit more time, a little bit of layering and stuff, but not too hard. I gotta keep my phone on just in case my wife, if she's calling me and I can't hear her because of the torch and the fan, and she can at least call me or text me. So you may get some of those notification sounds here and there. So I apologize for that. Alright, that's probably enough. I'm going to heat up this whole tip of blue here, and then we're going to just mash it directly to the back of this. Yeah, it's just enough to get all the way out there. About as wide as that whole pendant. And then I'll flame cut it, start pulling it off of, just pulling back and thinning it out, and then letting that flame just cut it before it thins out to like a real thin stringer, like a hair-like stringer. Those are dangerous and you don't want to ever pull those. So always let the flame just cut it, slowly just pull it away from itself, and then get a nice clean cut. Never have those hair-like stringers anywhere. I mean, we're pulling, we always pull stringers for like pushing mushrooms and things like that, but you don't want to have just random dangerous stringers around. All right, we'll keep the heat on that cobalt. And we're going to mash it, and we're going to do this gently because we don't want to smash it off of the rod here. So you got to be real careful with this. Use the flame, let the glass get molten. That way, you're not pushing a bunch of hard glass and accidentally snapping it off. Even though I did weld it there, it could snap off. I don't want to lose it. I think what I'll do is I'll just go straight down on the pad here. Oh yeah, that works better. So now I'll just get this back nice and molten, and we'll just flatten it a little bit here and there. Get it all to sink in with the rest of the piece. And then I'll add a cobalt pendant loop, I'll make a loop on top so it becomes a pendant. Right now we could leave it as is and turn it into a magnet for, refrigerator or hanging it wherever you'd like. But as a jewelry piece, it's more valuable when it becomes a jewelry piece. All right, now you can see it's all sunk in pretty well. We'll go in a little bit more with the heat there. We'll go around the whole edge, the outer rim of it. So now I'm going to attach the cobalt here. And I'm not really sure where the top is to this. There's so much going on with it. I'm like, where do I want to put everything? Here, we'll just go right there. And we'll just see how it lies. I kind of like that positioning, but it could be positioned in so many ways. Okay, and I'll add this. Get it nice and molten, stick it on, and pull it off so it gets a nice attachment there. And then, this shouldn't snap off because I did weld it there. So we will have to melt that off here. We need our punchy back. Alright, now I'm going to use this punchy here. I'm going to pull off this excess chunk that used to be part of the punchy. I'm just going to attach attach it and then pull and twist. And just wipe it right off, just like that. Just get that nice and molten. If you see any air bubbles or anything like that, you can always go back in and just wipe it again and just try to clean it up without getting any air bubbles there. You know, I maybe should have just left it with the vortex and not added any of those planets and stuff. Now I'm looking at it like, man, those things kind of block the view of what it really would have looked like. So we'll make another one without anything in there, which will be a lot easier, a lot simpler to make. Alright, and get our punty back together there. Round out that top here, just make sure it's all nice and smooth. And then we'll bring that same punty back in here in just a moment to finish off the loop here. I may have to bust out the opals to make it actually really happen. Because the color, I mean, it's cool, but then the color will move around. The opals will keep their shape once it's embedded inside the glass there. So if I'm using a perfectly round, like a marble, opal marble, little tiny one, it'll definitely keep its shape and look like a planet. I was just trying to mimic it with the color. That's all. But it looks cool. Check it out. But you see, if I wouldn't have put all that stuff in there, and a big old dot right there, I should have made that a lot smaller. That's a weird looking planet, huh? That's what I mean. That color moves around, kind of flattens out. But I can do little tiny, tiny dots, and that might work out just fine. And the other thing too is I'm thinking having a lot skinnier lines to create that vortex will make it even better. But like I said before, someone's gonna love it. It's the whole eye of the beholder thing, you know. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean someone else is not gonna love it. I've learned that when it comes to art, as artists, we just have to create, not for ourselves, but just create, because you never know what, like, if you keep on changing it and altering it to satisfy what you want it to be and what you like, and you're trying to like satisfy that, then it may not ever come out to what it's supposed to be. So if you just like get in that flow of allowing things to just be the way that they want to be, then it's, I don't know, people love it. Someone's gonna love this one. That's all I know. I just use the flame to help me open up the loop there. It tried to close itself up, but I just had to be persistent with it and open it back up. Alright, so now we'll clean up all the edges here. We'll make sure that whole backside, the loop flows into the pendant real nicely. We'll go in on the other side. Make sure that stays nice and straight. And then we'll thicken up the loop, just heating it up all the way around, allowing it to kind of close back up. Allowing the whole thickness of the loop to just melt down and get a little bit thicker, a little bit thicker. That way it's a lot more stronger, more sturdier of a loop. I like that. That looks good. There you go. Check that out. Let's try this some more. I think we can definitely make the back spiral a lot thinner and make it more ghosty. But that came out cool. Alright, let's drop that one in the kiln. Oh my gosh. I did say I wanted to use this. We also I need more rod. That's for sure. So I'm going to cut this rod into a 1/3 section here. We'll leave 2/3 on it and I'll cut that again later on when I need it. So I just start spinning this rod in the flame, trying to keep it in the same spot. And then once you see that it's heated up in one area, if you move it back and forth, you'll be able to see where that heat is. So you just keep the flame right there. And eventually the rod will start to bend on you. And then you just start pulling it away from itself. As you're spinning it, slowly spin it and pull. Give it a little gradual pull, then let it melt, then get it to where it's like about to pull on itself. Hold it there and just like kind of twist it around itself. And that's how you do a nice clean cut. Alright, so let's try this again. Oh, except this is going to have to be the front. And we need to finish off this one here. So we need to utilize this one. We're going to turn this one into a little spiral vortex. So we're going to get rid of some of this here. And I'm just going to heat it up, flatten it. I'll add a little clear layer over it again. All right, then we'll add that clear layer. This is a big old heavy rod now. It's I don't know, about 2 feet long. Maybe a little less. Maybe 18. Like 18 to 20 inches, I don't know. The rods are about 5 feet long, so I cut them into thirds. So almost 2 feet. Alright, then I just get that, flatten it on there. So we get that little bit of a layer. Maybe what I should do is just put the little dots right there and then add another lens on top of that. Alright, so then I'll heat this up. I'm going to flatten it out just a little bit. That way it just spreads out to the edges of the other piece there. And we can add some dots, like planets, I guess. It's going to be interesting to see how that works. just going to pull a little bit of a stringer here. Try not to make this one too big so it doesn't like flatten out like that last time. We'll see if I can have a little bit more control on these here. Okay. The spiral on the back looks nice. Alright, and then we'll put a lens on the front of it again. These ones are definitely going to be bigger than my $20 pendants, so these are probably more going to be like $50 to $80 here. I just got to get the tip of this molten enough to then attach it to the front here. And I want to push it on there to where it's going to be wide enough, as wide as the rest of that rod there. Let me just pre-warm that again. Push that on there to where it's as wide or even wider would be good. And it'll cover up all the planets that I put on there, including that furthest one. And I'll just melt these together. We're just going to force the back side into the front a little bit. Yeah, my shoulders are getting tired here. But my fingers haven't gone numb. That's one thing I've noticed in a moment, is my fingers have not gone numb in a few days, actually. Maybe because I just been blowing glass and just burning through it. It's like, whatever. You got this. Alright, I'm going to cut this off. I go all the way underneath. I'm trying to pull it from the rod, not from the body of the pendant. So you get all that glass and pull it from that area. Let it flame cut off. And then I'll bring it to the other hand here where we can pull some of this off here. And then we'll sink that in and we'll flatten it and we'll add some, well, we'll try to also melt this all together too. But we will flatten it, but we'll also get this all melted together. So this is the back side. This is going to be the front. And we get this middle section all molten and then joining together. We'll go around this outer edge here and we'll really get these sunk in together. And I know I said I was going to do one without planets. I think that one, it'll be simple to do that. So I'm trying to figure out how I can get these colored planets in here. And not opal planets, but using actual color glass. I don't know if I can pull it off. Oh, maybe. These ones look a little bit better. I never really know until I start seeing it from the front, and when I get that front lens magnified, and I can look down into the pendant, and after I put that cobalt on there too, does it really, really pop. Alright, those edges look really, really good. The dots are in there. They're kind of just floating there. I don't know how they're going to look head on, but I think it's going to look okay. The spiral's nice and flat. Looks good. I'll flatten that out some. Just get the paddle here and just flatten it down. Now that's a big surface there. We're gonna have to really, really melt some cobalt here. And really get this to get a big marble on here and then push it on there and allow it to widen out. Hopefully I can do it with this little piece of cobalt here. It's kind of short. Alright, let's see. Go right to the center, push it in. Try to get it to go as wide as I possibly can. And then I'll pour some more cobalt on there to really make it nice and thick, and then I can use my paddle to really mash it down after I get it molten. Just flame cut it again. And that might be the last time I use that blue there. And then we'll get this molten and we'll mash it down with the paddle. So we'll get the whole tip of this glob, all the cobalt blue all molten, and then we'll get this all molten too. Wondering if I should just bust out the opals here. At least make one, right? I think I have round opal. I know I got opal chips, but I'm not 100% sure I got actual round, like spherical opals that would look like planets. I'm just mashing it again some more. Okay. There we go. I got it flattened down pretty good there. And then we just allow it to all melt down around that whole rim there. I haven't made too many of these. I was watching a few YouTube videos on them, and I'm like, oh yeah, like it's all it is just making that vortex, that spiral. But then when they're adding the planets, You know, everyone's using the opals, which I understand why. I'm just wondering, can it be done with colored glass and mimic? But we can definitely do like some galaxy glass. All right, we're gonna flatten it again here. I'm gonna probably do it on the table here. And do it on the pad instead of using the paddle. I can really, really use the weight of my arms onto it. That spiral looks amazing. Oh man, that came out beautiful. Look at that shaping now. That looks awesome. And the planets look more round on these. That looks awesome. It looks great. I'm really happy with that. Okay, so now we're gonna cut this off here. Take it off with the punchy. This goes directly to the center on the back. Make sure that's nice and straight. And then go to the front of your pendant there. We'll flame cut it and we'll round this whole front and create a beautiful lens with it, and that spiral looks awesome. It had a lot thinner lines on it. So yeah, definitely with the thinner lines is going to make a better spiral. We're going to have to clean up a lot of this. For some reason, there's some sort of fuming or something on this clear rod. So I'm going to have to clean up some of this here. We just get a little piece of clear glass and we just, wherever there's stuff on there, we just get it molten and then wipe it off the surface. So I just see like there's the lines right there. Whatever is on there, I just go right onto it as it's molten. Attach that piece to it and then just like wipe it. It's like taking a napkin to your child's face and then trying to like wipe off the ketchup or whatever they got on the side of their cheek. All right, let's see if I clean that up pretty good there. There's definitely more on there. Here, we're just going to pull this whole chunk off here. That way it helps to round it a little quicker. There's a little bit more stuff right there, so just go in and wipe it again. It's right on the surface so we can get in there. If it was underneath the surface, you'd have to like wipe away for days to try to even get to it. And if it was under the surface, it might actually look cool within that little bit of a universe or the galaxy or the spiral that we're creating here. I'm going to snap that off in the jar there and get this rounded down. So now this will be magnified, the whole lens and everything. That spiral looks beautiful. And then when we added that clear glass on top of it, it kind of forces that spiral to like concave in. I should do a little bit more like that and then really create a really deep vortex, a concave vortex. All right, also, let me check the time here. I know we got to get going in a little bit. My wife was going to wake up around 12:30, I think. And then we have an appointment to get to at 1:15. I think that's enough time for her. Maybe she said 11:30. All right, I'm going to just melt this front here. Just get it nice and round. Be patient with it. Let the heat, let the fire do the work. Get the glass molten so it can round itself out. We're almost there. Uh-oh, chat got disconnected. Did this get too hot? Are we working here still? Did I lose connection? I don't know what happened there. It says chat was disconnected and then successfully connected. I don't know what happened. My phone might be getting too hot. I might have put it too close to the flame today. Almost got. Man, it's still not rounded yet. Almost there. So sometimes if the tip doesn't round, you got to go on the outer rim of that tip, and then it'll allow it to all sink in together. Then you'll get a nice round lens in the front without having to use any sort of a marble mold or any kind of a rounding device or tool to help you round it. Nice. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. I think it could be a little bit more round if I really want to be a perfectionist about it, which I usually do. Oh yeah, that looks nice. That looks like a really, really nice front lens there. Look at how round that is. Nice and smooth, and look at how it looks in the front. Look at that vortex. With the 3 planets just floating around. I think I might lay it like that. We can actually use this. Yeah, I think those little chunks of color might actually work to represent little planets in there without having to use the opals. You know, when you start adding like 2, 3, 4 opals, then you're looking at, you know, $150 for a pendant. And I don't know if people can really afford $150 a pendant, but I'll start making them if you guys want me to. If you're able to afford that. Alright, so I'm going to heat this up. Get that all stuck there. Try to get it to go all the way to the back as well. And we'll just attach that like that. Now sometimes I'll put the puntee on the very end and finish these up. Sometimes I'll do them like this. I don't know. I guess I can do them either way, and it doesn't really like mess with how I can get the loop finished. But some of you might, if you're just learning how to blow glass, you may want to attach the puntee on the very end, so you're not trying to work with this sideways, you know, and then having to like flip it over and work it in different weird angles and stuff. I'm just going to sink that in and get that all nice and thick on that back side there. The front's looking awesome. Really liking that. Yeah, that looks nice. Let's clean up the loop just a little bit. Get that hole perfectly round. Make sure that all the edges are all sunk in beautifully. And bam, there you go. That looks sweet. So there's 3 little planets in there. That's the light. That's the reflection of the light. But there's a planet, there's a planet, and there's one up there. That came out cool. What was that, the second one? Oh my god. Yeah, this is like a $50 to a $80 pendant right there. That's nice. I love the way that one came out. What do you think of that one? I love that they're pretty artistic. They come out, unique, one of a kind. It's one thing that I do love about these. All right, there we go. Last looks. All right, I'm putting it in the kiln. That one's really large. That one's about an inch and a half, I think. About an inch and a half big, but I'm guessing there. All right, making sure that this is still going and streaming. We got the live chat going. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that one came out sweet. Okay, I think I'm gonna make one more, and then I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna take a break. It's getting hot in here. Actually, what we're gonna do is we're gonna figure out how to make it like a production style. You like these, huh? You want one for sure? I don't know what I'm selling that one as, but I think that one's at least like 50 to 80 bucks. That one's nice. But these ones, I'm gonna figure out if I can get some production style going, and we can make some like real simple $20 ones, maybe less. So I'm gonna pull this ghost white out again. And we're gonna draw this on a rod. Here, we'll move all these little shorties out of the way. That one has some ghost in there. I might be able to use that. All right, that's some of my jellyfish glass there. I want to keep those there. All right. We're gonna try to do a simple one without the patterns, or without the planets, I mean, and try to do like a real quick form of this here. So we're gonna melt this down to like a point, and we're gonna draw those the ghost white down, probably 4 lines. You like that big one, huh? Yeah, we should look into that to see how much it actually would cost. I remember shipping to France, and I think just for one, it was at least like $13. But it wasn't bad. I was like, maybe it was more. Maybe I swear, but that was when our shipping was like only like $3, and now it like went up to 9. So I'm sure it's like close to $100, I guess. One on that side, one on that side, one in between, another one in between. Try to keep them as straight as possible. Heat up away from the tip. So you don't spiral the inner part too quickly. And then you just grab it and let it spin. And try to make sure that whole outer edge spirals out. And then I should be able to just snap this right off. And this will be the vortex. We'll flatten this. We'll add cobalt to the back of this. That'll be the flat. The front will be the round part, and we won't worry about putting a planet in between. We won't have to worry about putting a layer of clear glass in between. And this should look good. I'm wondering if what I might need to do is add a layer of clear glass around that ghost, so then it can create a layer away from the wall. Alright, we'll flatten this one here. Trying to keep that spiral centered. Then we got to get some cobalt. Yeah, I don't know what the weight of that would be, but I would imagine it's under a pound. Out to Belgium. We're going, I can get some glass out to you, and you could actually sell some of this lampwork glass out there in Belgium. Alright, now it just attaches blue. Try to smash it on there to go as wide as possible. And then we'll just leave a chunk of it on there, and we'll cut it off. And we'll melt that down. This rod's getting heavy here. I definitely need to take a break because my arms are getting a little sore. But not numb. My fingers have not gone numb. That's awesome. So maybe I've just been working so much that I've kind of broke free from that. And maybe I built up enough of the muscle again to not worry about it going numb. I don't know. It's interesting. Just keep on going. Just keep on working. Oh, and then, yeah, the tax, we can always just make it like the value of it a lot less. So then you're not having to pay so much in in all of that. But I don't know, like then with the tariffs and everything, like I don't know how it's going to work these days with the tariffs. Me shipping glass out of the country, I don't know if there's new forms I got to learn about and fill out. It was already difficult to send to Canada, and that's attached to the Americas here, to the U.S. Well, Canada is part of the Americas, but you know what I mean. Like then it doesn't have to go overseas at all at that point. Man. If I keep holding my arm up in this angle, it's going to go numb. I can feel it. It's getting that weird tightness to it. I kind of have to hold my arm up like that though to get that angle. All right. I got that all nice and rounded there. Is this the right one? No. I was like, that does not feel like the right puntee. I was not using that one earlier. All right, then we'll clean up the puntee again. We'll make sure they don't have anything left over from the last one. Going on to this one here. Always keeping it nice and clean. It went on crooked, but then I pushed the puntee back straight, so that's an interesting connection there, but it'll work. And I just cut this off, round it up, put the loop on top, and that's a lot quicker right there. And there's no planet in here, so we'll be able to really see how that looks with all the spirals and everything. I also don't know if I laid it down properly. We're going to see how this looks. It might be like a complete oblong kind of a galaxy and not centered with the way I flattened it down. That is interesting now that I'm looking at it. Alright, we won't know till I get this off and I really clean it up in the front here. Okay. Definitely going to be some cleanup. Look at that little piece of clear glass I have. Got some weird kind of dust line or some kind of particle debris line in it. If it was on the inside, then it would look cool, but this is on the outside, on the surface of the glass. So it really messes with looking at the design and everything. At least for me it does. So I'm going to clean it up. interesting. This whole entire feed, I haven't spoke about anything else except for this pendant and the patterns here. Usually I talk about all kinds of random stuff. I don't know. Do you prefer it if I just stay in the pocket here? Just focus on the glass work? Or is it cool to talk about like all kinds of other random stuff and what's going on in the world? Let me know what you think in the comments. Also, I guess I need to start promoting my channel more and trying to get people to help me get my channel to grow and expand and get bigger. If I want to ever do anything with this channel besides just hang out. So please subscribe, help me grow this channel, help me grow this community worldwide. Share it out with your friends, let people know, hey, this guy, he's a crazy guy, crazy American. I don't know. I guess I'm not too crazy. Not compared to a lot of others that we have here. Alright, now we'll cut this off and round the whole entire front. Get it all nice and smooth. Get a nice lens on the front of it, magnifying lens there. And we can really look inside this vortex here. And like I'm saying, it looks like it's got a double kind of spiral. I think maybe it spiraled up under itself or something. I'm not really sure. This is an interesting pattern here. Wow. Once I get it all smooth, I'll show you. It's okay to talk about aliens. For you, you like the glass, but okay about the aliens. All right. What about Bigfoot? Is Bigfoot good? You guys got like a German Sasquatch, a Yeti out there? We got Bigfoots here. But let's stick to the glass and the pendants and the aliens. Just kidding. So yeah, this pattern here, it's got like a, it looks like a spiraling one way and spiraling the other, or like, I don't know how to describe it. Watch. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. I feel like so that took a lot less time compared to those last few. We can definitely make some $20 vortex without the planets. Maybe I can figure out how to add a planet somehow, but yeah, maybe I can like push one directly in the middle like the way I'd push a mushroom, but just kind of push the cap of it in so it looks around it, and then vortex on the outside of that, spiral all that. Or do I have to spiral it then push it in? I'd have to do that. Spiral it then push it to keep it rounded. Alright. I don't see the spiral anymore. How am I supposed to show you guys what I'm talking about? Alright, where's my paddle here? We'll make sure this is nice and flat. So just allow it to kind of fall down onto the rod, but then I just use this paddle here to like kind of lift it up and keep that nice and flat. Get the cobalt. Try to figure out. Maybe we'll be able to see it cool down and I can show you this pattern I'm talking about. It is crazy. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, look at that. See? Like it didn't spiral the way I thought it was going to. That looks crazy. Should I have that on the bottom? That on top? The bottom. I like that. There's so many different ways that you can hang these. If it's not a stink foot, you're okay. Stink foots, huh? That's what you got out there? As long as it's a big foot and not a stink foot. You know, we got something called the swamp thing or the swamp monster. The green monster, the swamp monster. Like in the south here in like Louisiana. Where we got a bunch of swamps, I guess. By the Gulf of Mexico. Alright. Add that loop right there. Bring it around to the front. Stretch it around. Pull that one thin, since it's not such a big old heavy one like that last one. That last one needed a lot of pendant. It needed, or a big old loop to hold that weight. Alright, this one we're going to keep it nice and round. I'm going to try to force this back some. So it's going to have some tooling marks, so we'll have to melt that back smooth again. I'll probably do that again. Round it. Sticking up the back side here some. Make sure it's nice and round. Make sure it's nice and straight. Maybe a little bit bigger of a hole. So we'll go to the thickest part of the loop here so we can gather some of the glass from there, not thin out the thinner wall part. There we go. Keep it nice and straight. That's what it looks like, guys. With that crazy spiral going on the bottom. That's going to be one of my $20 ones, I believe. I know I can ask 40 on these or more. I can ask 60 on these. I like to keep my glass super affordable, and if I can make it in a decent amount of time, then why not? If I can make it in about 15 to 20 minutes, why not ask $1 a minute? That's not, you know. If I'm asking more, I feel like wait, what? I'm making how much? That's crazy. Oh yeah. That came out nice. Alright, we'll drop that one in the kiln and I'm gonna let you guys go. Alright, thank you for tuning in and watching. I'm Dan the Glass Man. This is the Glassman's World. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, share this out, let people know that you saw it here. And thank you so much, Pro Cannabis Warrior, for coming in and chatting with me this whole time. With soft glass, my loops are not as good. I think by, oh, I got a whole bunch of soft glass here, and I just got that miner torch, so I'm gonna be able to actually play with some soft glass. I've got two or three boxes full of just color rod. I've got hundreds of dollars in like, I don't know if it's Moretti or Bullseye or what, but I got a whole bunch. But yeah, it should work with the miner because that's a surface mix. This is a pre-mix here. My bottom one is a surface mix. But yeah, we'll try that out sometime. I'll play. It'll be fun to actually see can a Boro artist actually work the soft glass. All right, I gotta let you guys go. Thanks for watching. I'm out.